Because I read that name in the book, Josephine answered, her worst fears confirmed. Because... Did you see Oriana only or her full name? You don't know? Then you cannot have seen it in the book, Tom retorted triumphantly. But I am not ashamed of it. Her name is Clark. Clark? Oriana Clark, Josephine repeated, and she wondered where she had heard that name. Why did it seem familiar to her? What does her name matter? Tom answered. It will be Lady Maitland by night. She's a widow? Josephine asked. She did not know how she knew. Tom scowled. Well, and if she is, he cried. What was her husband, Tom? I suppose she had a husband. Look here, take care what you are saying. Tom returned with an ugly look. Don't be too free with your tongue, miss. Her husband, if you must know, was a Captain Clark of Sabin's Foot. I think it was. Sabine's Foot, I think it was. He was a man of the first fashion, so that's all you know about it. But he treated her badly, spent all her money, and when he died, Tom added vaguely, she had to look out for herself, you understand? But she must be years and years older than you, Josephine answered, opening her eyes. And a widow. Oh, Tom, think of it again, and be guided. Wait at least until you know more about it, she pleaded earnestly, and have learned what life she has led. But Tom would hear no more. Wait, he cried rudely. You're a nice person to give that advice. You were waiting, of course, and doing what you were told, and what life she has led. I tell you what it is, miss. I kept my mouth shut last night, but I might have said a good deal. Who got us into the trouble? What were you doing in his room? The less you say and the quieter you keep, the better for all, I think. A man's one thing, but a girl's another, and she should do what she's bid and take care of herself and not run the risk of shaming her family. Oh, Tom. Oh, is every word true? The lad answered cruelly. And less than you deserve, ma'am. Wait till sister sees you, and you'll hear more. Now cry, that's like a girl. He continued contemptuously. All the same, a little plain truth will do you good, miss, and teach you not to meddle. But I suppose women will scratch women as long as the world lasts. Oh, Tom, it's not that, Josephine cried between her sobs. I've behaved badly, if you please. As badly as you please. But take me for a warning, I thought. I thought him all you think her. Oh, Tom cried, and flung away in rage, went into the bedroom and slammed the door. Josephine heard him turn the key, and a minute later, when she had a little recovered herself, she heard him moving to and fro in the room. He was dressing. He had not then changed his mind. She waited a while, trying to believe that her words might still produce some effect. But he made no sign. He did not emerge. Presently she caught the rustle of his garments as he changed clothes, and in a fever of anxiety she began to pace the room. Nature has provided no cure for trouble more wholesome or more powerful than a generous interest in another's fate. Gone was the apathy. Gone were the dullness of soul and the grayness of outlook with which Josephine had risen from her bed. Convinced of the villainy of the man who had nearly snared her, She foresaw nothing but ruin and an alliance between her brother and a person who was connected ever so remotely with him. Nor did the case rest on his only, or on Tom's youth, or on the secrecy of the marriage. Oriana was the name of the game, of the name she had spelled in the book, the name of one of the women suggested in Hawksworth's sordid calculations. No wonder Josephine shrank from thinking what manner of woman she was, or what her qualifications for a part in the play. It was enough that she knew Hawksworth and was known by him. The cruel lesson which she had learned in her own person, the glimpse she had had of the abyss into which her levity had all but cast her, even the gratitude in which she held the brother who had protected her, rendered her feelings trebly poignant now. Ergreifend, melancholisch. Poignant, poignant, wo ist denn das Wort? Poignantly ignorant. Nee, poignant now. Her view of the case trebly serious. To see the one relation she loved falling into the pit which she had escaped, and to be unable to save him. To know him committed to this fatal step, and to foresee that his whole life would be blasted by it, these prospects awoke no less pity in her breast, because her eyes were open today to a madness of yesterday. Something must be done for him. Something. But what? Often through the gloom of reflections alien from them shoot strange flashes of memory. Oriana Clark, Josephine muttered, and she still remembered Oriana Clark. Surely that was the name of the woman in whose stead she had been arrested. The woman whose name the bailiff had read from the writ in Lane's shop. Josephine had only heard the name once, and the press of after events and crowding emotions had driven it for the time into a side cell of the brain, whence it now as suddenly emerged. Her eyes sparkled with hope. Here, at last, was a fact. Here was something on which she could go. She stepped to Tom's door and rapped sharply on it. "Well?" he called sourly. "What is it? Please come out," she cried. "I have something to tell you. I have indeed." "Can't come now," he answered. "I'm in a hurry." It seemed he was, or he wished to avoid further discussion, for when he appeared a few minutes later, he snatched up his hat and malacca and made for the door. "I can't stop now," he cried, and he waved her off as he raised the latch. "I shall be back in an hour. You may be at it. Though you are not very fine, I'm bound to say." He concluded with a grudging glance. Doubtless he was comparing her draggled sack and unpowdered hair with the anticipated splendors of his bride. He was so fine himself, he seemed to fill the little room with light. "Oh, but Tom, 1 minute," she cried. "Have a little patience. I only want to tell you one thing." "Well, be quick about it," he answered. "And whatever you do, miss, keep your tongue off her, or it will be the worse for you. I'll not have my wife miscalled," he continued, looking grand and a trifle sulky, as you'll have to learn, my lady. And a trifle sulky, or a trifle? Like sulky. Muffelig, schlecht gelaunt. Ach, jetzt hab ich wieder vergessen, was Trifle heißt. Leichtfertig. Ein bisschen, ein wenig. Ein bisschen schlecht gelaunt. But she's not your wife yet, Josephine protested. And Tom, she only wants you to pay her debts. She only wants a husband to pay her debts. She was arrested yesterday. Arrested? Arrested, he claimed. Yes, Josephine answered, and then beginning to flounder. At least, I mean, I was arrested in her place. That is to say, on a writ against her. You were arrested on a writ against her. Tom cried again. On a writ against Doriana? You must be mad, mad girl. Why, you've never seen her in your life? You did not know her name. He had not heard it will be remembered a word of her adventures on the way to Davis Streets, and the statement she had just made. Seemed to him the wanton falsehood. Wanton. Das Wort habe ich noch nie gehört, niemals. So wie fast alle. Mutwillig. The wanton falsehood of a foolish girl bent on mischief. Oh, this is too bad, he continued. How dare you, you little vixen, you cowardly little liar, he added, pale with anger. And he raised his hand as if he would strike her. She recoiled. Don't hurt me, Tom. I'll not. But you deserve it, you little snake. You are bad. You are bad right through. What you did yesterday was nothing in comparison to this. You let me hear another word against her, make up another of your lies, and you are no sister of mine. That's all. So now you know. And if you are wise, you will not try it again. As he uttered the last word, Tom jerked up the latch and strode out, but only to come into violent collision at the head of the stairs with his landlord, who appeared to be getting up from his knees. Hang you, Crockett! What the deuce are you doing here? The lad cried. Cleaning the stairs, your honor, the man pleaded. You rascal, I believe you were listening, Tom retorted. Is the room below stairs ready? We go at noon, mark me, you shall be back to dine at 1. To be sure, sir. All will be ready. Okay, come here past? Yes, have the cold meats come from the White House? Yes, sir. And the burgundy from Pontax? Fragezeichen? Yes, your honor. Tom nodded his satisfaction, and his temper a little improved, stalked down the stairs. Josephine, who had heard every word, ran to the window and saw him cross Clark's Row in the direction of Shepherd's Market. Probably he was gone to assure himself that the clergyman was at home and ready to perform the ceremony. The girl watched him out of sight, then she dried her tears. I mustn't cry, she murmured. I must do something. I must do something.